And speaking of Ukraine, here's what else Ukraine is at risk of becoming. The longer it takes for a ceasefire to be established, Ukraine may transform into an arms paradise. Yes, you heard that right. A new report by the Times UK reveals how Ukraine is undergoing a firearms revolution. The country, which imports more weapons than any other nation and is facing one of the deadliest wars in Europe since World War II, is reportedly at a risk of becoming a weapons paradise. Surveys cited by the Times UK have shown that a majority of the Ukrainian population favours allowing civilians to own guns. Take a look at this graphics, these numbers on your screens. As you can see, in 2022, that's when the war broke out, over 62% of Ukrainians said yes to carrying firearms for personal protection, whereas 19% said no to carrying arms and around 18% said yes for special needs. But that's not all. In the years and months that followed, there's also been an increase in the number of Ukrainians armed with weapons. Whereas in 2011, less than 4% of Ukrainians carried a knife or a gun with them, the stats show that the number increased. In 2019, less than 6% carried personal arms. But in 2023, that's when Ukraine was at a war, more than 16% of Ukrainians carried arms on them. And when asked why, most Ukrainians cited by the report say that their perceptions changed after seeing Russian tanks rolling in their cities. They especially cited what happened to unarmed civilians in Bucha and Irpin. Remember, in the early days of the war, Russia was accused of committing the most terrible war crimes in Bucha, a town northwest of Kiev. The city saw fierce fighting after it was occupied by the Russian army on the third day of the war. Reports say that civilians were targeted and pictures of dead bodies piled on the street. It had invited global outcry. Fast forward to today. According to those interviewed by the Times UK, for Ukrainians, Bucha is a reminder of what happens to unarmed civilians caught in the crossfire. And so for them, the main priority is protection of their own. And it's not without reason. The country is at a war. For 3 years, they have faced relentless assaults from the Russians, a military superpower that has unleashed waves of missiles, drones and bombs on Ukraine, resulting in civilian casualties. Even though, before the war started in 2022, most Ukrainians did not want firearm controls to be liberalized, and that sentiment has reversed now. Right now, Ukraine is the sole country in Europe where firearm regulations are not governed by law. Instead, a decree from the Ministry of Internal Affairs from 1998 oversees all matters related to firearms. Now, what this means is that the whole situation in Ukraine is pretty much complicated. In Kiev, there are many gun shops that reportedly sell a variety of weapons, including powerful sniper rifles and shotguns at low prices. To buy a gun, Ukrainians need to reportedly go through a procedure that just takes about 30 days, about a month, which includes checks and a fee of $1,200. They can own shotguns and rifles, but Ukrainians are not allowed to have handguns unless they receive one for service to the state. Now, critics say that this system is open to misuse in the future. You see, since the war started in 2022, the situation has changed dramatically. Even Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has encouraged citizens to arm themselves for defense, leading many to receive firearms from the government itself. And since then, a large number of weapons have entered the country, including those left behind by the Russian soldiers. Of course, experts are concerned that without a government program to buy back unregistered guns, post-war Ukraine could see more violence, with disputes being settled with firearms instead of peaceful means. Just to be clear, no one knows exactly how many weapons are in private hands, but estimates say that it could range from 1 to 5 million. It begs this very question: is Ukraine an arms paradise in the making?